So you guys have mentioned John, Drew, and OG. If the Lakers are healthy, then they have a good shot at the West. Another team that's dealing with their superstar being hurt is the Suns and Kevin Durant.
Yep.
Mhm.
Kevin Durant got hurt with the Suns after they started 3-0. They were averaging 120 points per game. The lineup of CP3, Booker, Okogie, Katie, and Ayan had a plus 38.5 net rating in 100 possessions. Now, I want to ask you, what is more impactful in terms of winning the championship to these teams? LeBron going back to the Lakers, returning, or KD returning to the Suns? Who's the favorite?
This one's a weird question because I think that both need to be present for their teams to be contenders. That's an obvious statement. And I can sit here and acknowledge that Kevin Durant goes back to the Suns. That is one of the best offenses. Let me not say one of. It's the best offense in the league. You're getting a very solid defender, rim protector in Kevin Durant back.
Top 15 player all time.
Absolutely. It's Kevin Durant. But then you go into the other side, you get the best player of all time in LeBron James back to the Los Angeles Lakers, a team that's already continued to get better and better as the season's progressed, especially since the trade deadline, because it's basically a brand new roster. And then you plug in LeBron back in there, and now you have your initiator, your floor general back into the court. It's one of those situations where I find myself hard to pick a side because my side is always going to be LeBron and the Lakers, but I'm not oblivious to the fact that the Suns at full strength are probably my favorite to win the championship because of how great Kevin Durant and Booker are together on the court with the floor general and Chris Paul. And of course, we leave out DeAndre Ayton, who's very good in his own right. Yeah. Okogie's been great, giving them very solid minutes as a great role player for them as well. Campaign has been very solid as well. This team with Kevin Durant is the favorite to win the NBA championship. But what LeBron James means to the Lakers, obviously, there's no idea of a championship without LeBron James.
I'm under the mindset that I think even with KD healthy, I don't know if they're going to beat a healthy Bucks team. I think the Bucks healthy just feel like a team that's going to win the championship.
Infinite more death.
You're funny, man.
Gotta get past Celtics.
You're funny, man.
What do you mean? I'm funny.
You're funny.
Funny about
Gotta
what?
get past Celtics.
Funny about what?
Sorry, do you have more to say about? I know
Listen.
KD's your guy.
If his return is more impactful because KD takes them to a legitimate championship contender. Lakers, even with LeBron, I like them boys in Sacramento to bounce them out still in first round if they were to match.
LeBron James were obvious contenders. If you say otherwise,
it's LeBron and AD, not just LeBron.
No, LeBron comes back to the team that is being led by Anthony.
Yeah, but what if AD rolls his ankle?
What are we doing?
The Suns.
History
The
says.
Suns.
Oh, gee, come on. You're better than that. You're better than that.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
I like Denver a lot, but they're not going to be able to handle the pick and roll that the Suns are going to do to them. The Spain pick and roll, the shots in the mid range.
Yeah, it'd be
LA is gonna
unspeakable.
able to do to them also.
I think we're leaving out. I'm sorry, Joe. Keep going.
Oh, you could go, OG.
I think we're leaving out that this Suns team was in the NBA Finals. Not only were they in the NBA Finals. I mean, I think that Monty Williams got out coached last year against that Dallas Mavericks team. But before Devin Booker went out of the lineup for 22 games or something like that, before he went out of the lineup, the Suns were the number 2 seed in the West. So they were rolling and they were getting it together. Now you plug in KD with 20 games left. Now they got to get acclimated to him. Now, don't get me wrong. KD is probably the best plug-in player in the game. Like, my game travels wherever I go. My game travels, whether it's in Detroit or Denver, doesn't make a difference. My game travels. But those guys got to get acclimated to playing off of him. So DeAndre Ayton has to get acclimated to playing off of him. Now, Chris Paul needs to understand where he gets the ball to KD. Where does KD need the ball in what space? How does he need the ball off the bounce? Does he need it in transition? Off the bounce? Does he need it straight ahead? How does he get this guy involved in the offense? Because again, even though he's a scorer, it's different playing with a guy as opposed to just watching a guy. James, on the other hand, James does so much more for that Laker offense, right? He does so much more for that Laker offense that now with him off the floor and now them winning and with the way that they rolling, to get him back and to integrate himself back into that offense, I think that's a huge impact.
So you don't think that LeBron also, as much as he, of course, benefits the offense.
Talk to me, Jay Will.
It's not a Jay Williams take, but it's also that Austin Reeves has looked his best when he's played on the ball this season. D'Lo historically is better on the ball than off the ball.
Mhm.
It's the same thing with LeBron and Westbrook. When Westbrook was on the floor and LeBron was off, Westbrook was better because he's a primary on the ball player. Even though LeBron is going to help this offense, they're going to be better with LeBron for sure. These other players are going to have to take a back seat, and they're going to have to strive in off-ball roles.
Well, wait a minute, though, Joe. I'm glad you brought that up because is it fair to say that with James now being when James comes back into the lineup, could James be more of a facilitator as opposed to being a ball dominant guy where he's setting guys up more than him looking for his offense?
We've seen it. We've seen it before.
I think, yeah, but that's still him being on the ball. That's my thing. Like,
but when you say him being on the ball for stretches, it's not him just dominating the basketball like he did when he was in Cleveland or like he did early with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now it would be more like they would speed the offense up more because you got Beasley, right? You got Anthony Davis rim running the way he does. You got D'Angelo Russell rim running and playing in transition the way he does. And now getting these guys more involved in the offense in transition, which would speed their game, right? Sure. Which would speed their game up. And with speeding their game up, James would be more of a facilitator than more of a ball dominant guy. Is that fair?
I think you're making a valid point. The disagreement here is that I think the Suns are going to have an easier time implementing Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant is legitimately a plug-in player. Their offense runs the same way. Just some certain ones run through KD now, some certain sets, but their offense, it's effortless. The fit is effortless. With LeBron, it's more of an adjustment period for those players.
And the Lakers are integrating all of these different players into the mix. LeBron's barely played with D'Angelo Russell.
Couple games.
Whereas with Kevin Durant, he is the piece. The Suns have went to the finals with this minus Mikal Bridges squad.
Right.
And so you look at their lack of depth, they can't go nowhere without Kevin Durant. They may be closer to a first-round exit. The moment you add in KD, if he is healthy, which is a big if, he's been hurt so many times, for as much of a plug-and-play player as he is, I just think that Phoenix team can beat anybody, and they would do unspeakable things. Nuggets, I'm sorry, Jokic got swept by the Suns without Kevin Durant, so I'd have to imagine if you put him into the mix in the pick and roll, he'd dice him up like a.
To be fair, you got swept without Jamal and without MPJ.
And I think
Will Barnes and KCP wasn't on that roster neither.
Will Barnes didn't even play. So, that was the same hopscotch backcourt of Facu and Austin Reeves. I love him. Just not starting backcourt.
The comparison I would make is if the Suns, instead of plugging in playing KD, they're plugging in playing Luka. And that's a huge adjustment for all those players around in Phoenix.
The only adjustment I think is Chris Paul playing off the ball. Because Chris Paul's not the guy who just fires away 3-point looks off the catch. That's not his game. He would have to adjust that way. I'm the same with Kevin Durant.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, John. When I think about Chris Paul playing as the lead guard, I think he has the simplest job in the game because now I don't have to do nearly as much as I used to because now I got DeAndre Ayton rim running. I got KD getting him it's going to be an adjustment, no question about that. But I got KD in transition or KD in a one-on-one. Same logic with Book. All I got to do is make open shots and get guys the basketball where they need it, and that's it.
Yeah. OG, with the Suns fully healthy, do you have them coming out the West?
I don't. And the reason why I don't is because I don't think it's enough time for KD. Is even though he's one of the best plug-in players, I just don't think it's enough time to get him back acclimated to what they're doing in Phoenix. Plus, he's been hurt, so now it's even less time. So basically what you're doing is you're asking KD with 10 games in the regular season, plus the playoffs, all right, let's go win the NBA championship. I think you're asking a lot.
Who would be your pick be?
For the NBA championship?
Out of the West.
Out of the West right now. Healthy.
I'm on record. I've said this before. I think that the road to the NBA championship goes through the Golden State Warriors, and I think the Denver Nuggets have the best opportunity to drop them.
Even the Warriors possibly or likely know Andrew Wiggins the rest of the way.
Right. I think that until Dre, Clay, and Steph, who since the 14-15 season, since they've been together, they've been in the NBA Finals every year. And if they've been healthy, they've been in the NBA Finals every year. So until somebody drops them when they're healthy, they're the team to beat. And I think Denver has the best opportunity to beat them. But no matter who it is, I think that Milwaukee steamrolls anybody in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, the Suns just don't get to the rim enough. They're not a physical team. And that's the issue. And
Monty was just complaining about the lack of free throws.
Maybe if you had guys that actually got to the rim, that would help.
Yeah, that's why it feels like KD would be more.
Maybe if they had Austin Reeves instead of Chris Paul. Maybe.
Or, John, how about you implement Ayton more in the how many times have I seen him burying guys underneath the basket? How many times have I seen him rim running and they don't involve him as much as they should in the offense? How many times I think he'd get to the line more, and if he got to the line more, I think that would shrink the defense, which would open up the offense even more for guys like Book. KD, Chris Paul, guys like Okogie. I think it would open up the offense even more for those guys.
I get where you're coming from, but there is not a less aggressive player at the rim at the center. Like DeAndre, and if he could dunk the ball for once, that'd be amazing. He fades away every time. And so, look, he's a great player with his skill, but he hasn't set that tone at the rim. And I think that's why you don't see him get incorporated enough, because he's not that aggressor. Well, you make a good point. He can punish a switch. It's often him fading away, turnarounds, jump hooks. It's not him just pulverizing some guy in the post at the rim the way he can, but he just always settles. And that's okay. He's great. But we then look at a series like the Mavericks where you don't set that tone on Dwight Powell and get cooked in 7 games. So that's where I come from with the lack of aggression at the rim.
You think he's soft?
I think he settles too much.
It's a nice way to put it.
That's a nice way of putting it, sure.